Let's be real, life is messy. We all wrestle with loneliness, guilt, and shame.
Having a supportive community and the right resources can make all the difference.
That's why we started Healing Unscripted.
We're just three friends on a mission to bring hope and healing.
Whether you're struggling yourself or walking alongside someone who is,
we're diving deep into the hard stuff.
With insightful guests, real talk,
and a whole lot of heart. Join us on Healing Unscripted.
Hey everybody, I'm Jen. Welcome back to Healing Unscripted. Be sure to like, share, follow, and subscribe.
Hi everyone, I'm Liana.
And hi, I'm Laura. And today our special guest with us is Julie. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you.
Yay. It's great to have you here. So I just want to tell you this quick story.
Okay.
All the girls in my office, literally half my office staff knows Julie.
Oh.
Everyone knows Julie.
Yes. So whenever she comes in, I think it's just so cool that everywhere you go, there must be all of these kids who are always like, yes, Miss Warnke. Hello, it's me. Do you remember me? And then you're always like, yes, I remember you.
She remembers everybody.
I do.
And
I
her kids
remember all
love
of
her.
them.
She remembers probably their grades even. I mean, and she's, okay, I just got to brag on you.
Their handwriting.
She is the funnest teacher, I think, in the whole county. She dresses up as Justin Bieber. She wears costumes. She creates dance parties. She is like the fun, and everybody wants to get in her class. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
She's
You have a
why
good
people-
reputation.
Why people become, I mean, like you would hope that people that become teachers become it because they actually like kids like her, not like some.
I love the kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
How long have you been a teacher?
Well, I always tell the kids, I'm like, I didn't become a teacher to teach verb conjugations. I became a teacher because I love kids and I love being around kids and having fun and, laughing and learning and, making learning fun. That's why I became a teacher.
You do.
That is
I love that.
That is a good thing.
Yeah,
Thanks for being one of
It takes some very special people to work at the middle school.
Oh, yeah.
So,
amen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would, yes.
I would
and thank you.
I
I would
can't
say
imagine.
thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
It does.
Frontline,
It does.
yes.
First
Yeah.
responders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
My husband says that I'm his donation to the community.
So he's like, I don't have to do anything.
he's like, I don't have to. He's like, you're my donation. I'm like, they can have you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's like, you barely make any money, so this is your community service.
Contribution.
I'm like, exactly.
Yes.
I'm like, you got it.
Community
Yeah,
service.
and I'm okay with that.
We're just so happy that we've chosen this really exciting topic of grief and loss.
Oh,
Mhm.
and we did it over
And
the
we've
holidays.
cried.
It's so funny.
And we
Yeah.
planned it that way
Yeah.
because we knew that the holidays are so hard for people going through recovery.
Yeah.
Someone, if you've lost somebody, and then if you've, so on our last episode, Jen had just lost her dad a year ago, and this year Liana lost her sister, and I lost my mom like over 20 years ago, but all the stories still resonate. But then we got a call that you were ready to talk about the loss of your son.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like perfect timing. I'm so proud of you for being ready. And have you talked about it before?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've always been very open about my grief, my experience, and before I really start talking about my experience, my journey with grief, I just want to acknowledge that this is just my experience. This is not universal. Everybody experiences it differently, and I think a lot of the way that people deal with grief depends on their personality. And I'm just a very kind of open book and very vulnerable person in general. But again, everybody experiences it differently, and it's much of it is dependent upon personality. And I just happen to be a very, open and honest person. For me, I think that's been a real benefit in dealing with my loss.
Because you're not keeping it in.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember like the first night when we got home, I remember just very vividly telling myself to, that this wasn't that I wasn't gonna fall apart. I was gonna keep going. And I just kind of always kept that in the back of my mind. And, you know, so from very, very early on, I just was very determined to, be one with it and lean in to the pain.
Have you always had that type of strength?
I think so. I think I've always been very resilient person. So,
She's
It
small
makes
but
a big
mighty.
Mm-hmm.
it
yeah,
makes a big difference, your
it
personality
it
and I
does.
think your general outlook on life.
The outlook I think is important for sure. Like I said, I really do remember, like I remember exactly where I was sitting when I thought that, and I just remember thinking like I'm not giving up. And I have another child that needs her mother, and that is that is why I'm here right now. I went through, every emotion, I was very angry and um just why did this happen to me? Like,
Mhm.
why did it's the old, I'm such a good person. Like,
Mhm.
why did this happen to I've dedicated my entire existence to children.
Mhm.
And then to lose one of my own felt just like such a jab in a way,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. The
Unfair.
unfairness of it all just, and that would make me angry
Mhm.
and that was really hard.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not fair.
but I just knew I would never be okay unless I let every emotion that I was okay with any emotion that was washing over me. I was like, I'm just gonna be one with this. If I feel like crying, I'm gonna cry. If I'm okay that day, I'm gonna be okay. And you just like I just was gonna lean into whatever was coming at me. So
Oh, such a great outlook.
Wise. Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you comfortable
Wow.
like telling us?
what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
What's your
Well,
son's name?
His name is Wilhelm, which is the German name for William.
That's beautiful.
And his full name is Willem Otto Hornke, so his initials spell WOW.
Oh.
And a
oh,
friend
that's
of mine some
Mhm.
years ago made me this like little sign because when you flip WOW over, it spells mom.
Mhm.
mhm.
So she made me like this little sign, so it's like WOW and then mom.
Oh.
Um,
That's
so yeah, and it just ended up that those were his initials, and you know, and wow, has he had an impact on us, and our
mm,
family, and just how everything's unfolded
Oh,
in
that's
in our lives
so
since
sweet.
we lost him.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Well, tell us about him.
So he was a beautiful, healthy, happy, fat, baby boy, and had a really easy birth. And like any of my babies, he did not, none of my kids have slept.
I remember that from
Mm.
Whitney,
All the
right?
Warnke
Your
babies,
first
like
one.
they don't sleep. They just don't sleep.
She wouldn't quit crying her first, Whitney.
Yeah.
Would not stop,
Yeah.
right?
What cried for about a year straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, but none of my kids slept, but besides that, he was just so cute
Mhm.
and just adored by his sister. And I remember finding out that he was a boy, and I was like, "Oh my god," cuz for whatever reason I wanted my oldest daughter to have a sister cuz I
Mhm.
don't have any sisters. And I also had a girl's name that I loved. And I was like, "Okay, now I gotta come up with a boy's name." But anyway, so then of course, I was thrilled to have a
How
little
old
boy.
was Whitney at when?
When he passed away, I think she was closer to 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So they're 2.5 years apart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, almost 3 years apart.
Yeah, that's like even maximum.
Yeah, and I needed that, I needed that extra time to recover
Mhm.
from her infancy. I had another one.
From your year of crying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was very hard.
Grace
Yeah.
was like that too. She had colic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
the
gonna say,
colic
did she
streamer.
have colic? She had a
Yeah,
colic,
colic
right? Yeah.
streamer.
And they're
Mhm.
5 years apart, and we were like, "No way are we have we
Right.
literally can't go through that again." It was so
That's
tough.
that's exactly where I was. I was like, "Oh my god," like, other women are out, like, with their kids sleeping in a car seat, like, and they're having happy hour.
And you're
And
like
I was
wanting
like
to cry.
I was like, "Oh my
It was
god."
terrible.
I was like, "I can't go anywhere with this baby."
Mhm.
And I didn't go anywhere
Mhm.
for a year.
How did she do at 3 then?
How did she
do with the loss of her brother?
Oh,
3,
We're
he's
not
3
there
years
yet.
old. Sorry.
oh,
We're not there yet.
yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No,
Click.
he was a sweet baby. We called him the bug. He was our bug. I mean, I can just like I'm picturing him in my head and he was just so cute. And he was, a little chunky and he had those like rubber band things, on his wrists.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, he was precious. He was just so beautiful and so loved, just obsessively loved, like as all my kids are.
Mhm.
But yeah, but we just loved him. So, his passing was he was 6 months old. He passed away in his sleep and, just stopped breathing, and so, um, my husband we had kind of a, we would, like, sort of tag team the nights, like, he would do a night and I would do a night, with the baby, because again, wasn't much of a sleeper, and so he was with him down there that night, and, um, he just came running up the stairs screaming, um, "Baby, baby, baby," just crying, screaming, and I was like, "Oh my god," and, um, I think the most traumatic thing for me and was I was doing CPR on him and
Oh.
Whit was watching because 'cause she'd gotten up, obviously. Whitney is my older daughter, so she was watching me do the CPR. And then I told my husband to call 911, and I was like, "It's gonna take too long for them to get here, I'm taking him myself." So I drove in my car to the ER. He was on my lap, and I was continuing to do
Oh my gosh.
CPR as I was driving. Um, yeah, and I had it was January, it was really cold, it had snowed, and I had no shoes on, and just remember running with him in my arms, from my car to the ER doors and just waiting for them, standing in the snow barefoot, waiting for the doors to open. And then they took him back and um shortly after they came out and told me that he had passed away and I just, you know, um I just fell to the ground and
Oh.
was screaming and
Oh, are you
crying and
and no one was there with you?
it was just me at that point
Oh.
because my husband was home with the other daughter. Um And then yeah, so I was just laying on the floor of the ER. I still and I've written this all down, but I still remember the pattern and the tile on the floor from when I was laying there because I just was like, "This cannot be real." You really feel like, um, you're in a movie or it's like someone else or,
Mhm. Yeah.
and then I had to call my husband and tell him. And then he came with my daughter, and, um, I remember her coming back because they had, put me in some room by that point because I was, like, losing it, and she came back there, um, and she just came over and just, like, hugged me, and she was like, "Mama, you'll be okay, and we'll be okay," and she
Mm.
was only 3 at that time.
Mm.
Um That's the part that makes me cry so much is just thinking of her in that moment, um,
Mm.
because she was just so strong, and telling me that we were gonna be okay, you know? So, that was really sweet. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's so, like, horrendously tragic
Uh-huh.
to lose a child in any way, um, but to lose them like that, just, inexplicably almost is just, it doesn't feel right. Yeah. The whole actual like experience of his death was very traumatic and I was pretty frustrated afterward in terms of the hospital. There was um no follow-up. Um
Oh.
yeah, so
Nothing?
no. There was like no outreach
Wow.
and I remember saying, like, they would have followed up with me more if he had gotten stitches and he
Yep.
died,
Yeah.
and there was nothing, but the
Damn.
The beautiful piece of all that was there was a nurse in the ER that night, and she's the one that took the baby from me at the doors. She was my angel because she just stayed with me after that. And of course, I had her son in my class, years and years
What was
ago.
her name?
Her name's Cindy Hill.
Yeah, Cindy.
Cindy is awesome. She still lives here.
Mhm.
We still keep in touch, um and she's been through a lot, but she always says that he's her angel too.
Mm.
Because he definitely has been. She is the one that reached out to me. She's the one that followed
So
up,
sweet.
and it was not her, job, but she was like, "This is," um, you know,
She was affected.
very much so. Very. How could you not be? I mean, the ER doctor also reached out to me, but there is no
Thank
kind of like
God.
trauma outreach, which I found to be really frustrating. And I do think because I said something about this later on that they've kind of changed that somewhat.
That's
Do you think
good.
they use the
Yeah.
like Route County Crisis team now?
I'm not sure, but I certainly hope so.
Mhm.
Because I was like, I don't want this to ever happen to anybody else that loses a
I'm so glad
child.
you said something.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
all of you, I was like, not all of you, but I mean, 80% of you know me personally. I've
Mhm.
had your kid in
Right.
my class.
Right.
And I remember someone saying like, "Oh, well, we knew that, you were gonna have a lot of support." And I was like, "But what if I
It doesn't take
didn't?
What if
anybody.
you
And what
didn't?
if," and I definitely said this. I was like, "But what if I was a young mother? What
Mhm.
if I was a young single mother and this happened to me?
Mhm.
I know that I wouldn't have endured.
No.
I know that I wouldn't have.
And
Because I
also,
woun't have had my daughter.
when
I
is it a
wouldn't have
bad
had
thing
my
to have too
husband."
much
Mhm.
support?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
And I think that's a huge thing with grief, is for people to reach out, and definitely a lot of I mean, I will say lots of people did reach out to me. But I really felt like there needed to be some kind of professional,
Mhm.
trauma intervention at the time as for me, my husband and my daughter,
Oh,
Yeah.
because
yeah.
we were all there. So yeah, I think the follow up with that is really important. So,
That seems
um,
like it should be part of the hospital, not even Route County Crisis.
protocol.
They
Yeah,
should.
protocol.
yeah.
How many years ago was that?
So he
Just
died in 2013.
I
So
I
yeah, 12
remember
years ago.
I was at home. I saw it on Facebook
Hmm. Yeah.
and I dropped my phone. I screamed and I immediately said, no, 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 and started crying. And my family didn't know
Yeah.
what was going on with me. It was such a, like,
oh
I mean, nobody expects that.
No.
Yeah.
no.
Exactly.
And I just remember texting you before I could even think if that was appropriate or not and
Yeah.
reaching out. And I'm like, well, she doesn't want to, if she doesn't want to talk, she's not going to talk. But
Mhm.
you did. And you've been amazing through this whole thing. You've been such a pillar of strength. But I think you were the pillar of strength for your whole family.
Definitely.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
feel like you had to be?
But I always am.
or
I
that's
always have
just your
been.
nature?
So,
It takes a lot to take me down. It really does.
It's
and
cool.
you've always been so verbal about
Yeah.
your journey. You've
Yeah.
kept Wilhelm alive always,
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
telling stories and just talking
And I
about
think
him.
for
And
some people, they don't like it. It makes them uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. That's
Mhm,
okay.
For
Mhm.
sure.
mhm.
Shouldn't keep you from talking about him.
No.
No.
Well, and I don't.
Mhm.
It's healing for me to talk about it.
Yeah.
To share like cute things about him that I remember, but also my sadness, because the joy of having him in my life and the sadness of losing him, they can live in my life side by side.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think that's probably the whole key to grief is the integration of those two, joy and happy, and it's like that movie Inside Out, like you can't have joy without sadness.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is life.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
cannot have life without death.
Yeah.
All those things coexist.
Mhm.
And I think being one with that is I guess how I look at it all. I'm just like, if you don't have this, you don't have that.
And you should be able to talk about both. You shouldn't have to sugarcoat anything
Becau-
because it makes anybody uncomfortable. And
yeah,
Right.
that's,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that is more harmful, detrimental to our mental and emotional
It's
state than
detrimental for
anything.
the people that are going through it, for
Mhm.
sure. And, you don't know what other people's experiences are, but I definitely remember, going to Safeway and people being like, like they did not want to, see me or interact. I
Would
don't know
you
if you
have
guys
wanted
know Sarah Coleman,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but and I still tell her this. Um, One of the first days that I, like, went out in public, I got out of my car at Walmart, and she had gotten out of her car, and she saw me, and she just, like, dropped everything and just ran over to me
Oh.
and just gave me the biggest hug, and that was it, and I was like it was just that was all that's all someone needs to do, you know, and she didn't say anything. She just hugged me, and we cried, and then she got in her car and I went into Walmart. But just
Yep.
just the acknowledgement
Yeah.
Yeah.
and not, like, avoiding
Yeah.
Yeah.
this 'cause, like, yeah, it's freaking horrible, It's horrible, but don't shy away from it.
Mhm.
And again, I get that that's really hard for some people, but
Mhm.
and and also in my experience, I wanted people to say something. I wanted people to reach out and acknowledge that we had suffered a tremendous loss.
That's a really good
Right.
thing to say
Right.
for people to hear.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just kind of where people are,
Mhm.
in their beliefs about grief and stuff. And
Yeah.
and I
Right.
think nowadays, and obviously, as you guys know, because you talk about mental health a lot, it's way less, hidden,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is good.
It is.
And
There are still people that are just like, "Oh my god,"
Well,
yeah,
and
But at the
those are
same time, there were so many people that I didn't know that wrote me letters and left things at my door and of boxes filled with things people wrote to me, and it meant so much to me at the time. I can't even explain it to have people reaching out. It just meant everything at that time. I was thinking last night, like, what would I talk about? And anything specific, And what I found was I did need help after the shock wears off, and some people start sort of because initially you get a lot of support. People are
Yeah.
like very surrounding you, and then all of a sudden it sort of drops off,
Mhm.
and you're just like, oh, like this sucks. And for me, that's when I started getting angry, really
mhm.
angry, and felt really alone, felt really isolated, and just filled with sadness. And I that's when I started going to therapy. I went to like 5 different therapists, and it just wasn't helping at all. And I was like, "But I'm not giving up. Like, I wanna start, a grief group." I was like, I wanna do something, where I can help myself, but also others." And, what I ended up finding was a woman's blog, and we had, like, our stories almost, like, mirrored one another. And she had started a group online, and, so she kinda started this group of SIDS moms, and we all lost a son. Every single person, it was a boy,
oh,
Mm.
and, we all had older daughters, and, so she kinda
Wow.
started this online group, and, that was that was what got me through that first 2 years was because there were other mothers
Mhm.
yep.
that knew exactly what I was saying. I couldn't go down you know, an aisle at Target or Walmart or whatever, and I would see, like, little boy clothes or toys, and I would just
Mhm.
be like, "Oh my god," I couldn't even deal, and so but, like, just to have people with that understanding was so important for me because it's not a
Yep.
common thing
Right.
Yep.
to lose a child that young, and so you really feel like you feel so alone. And I remember in our group, we would always say, like, "What if this was, how many years ago, like, when there was no internet, when there was no
Mhm.
Mm.
we wouldn't have had anybody that experienced this." The group is kinda based out of Utah, and we've gotten together a few times
Oh,
and,
that's cool.
um, and, spent some time together, and we all kind of follow each other and everybody's journey and all the other siblings, and then we all had more kids after, and so
Wow.
Oh,
it's
wonderful.
been so special to have those people that just literally just are walking
They
this
just
with.
get you.
Yeah, they just
They don't
get
even have
it.
to say anything.
There's nothing needs to be said. It's just this endless understanding of the experience. And again, it's not anything that you would ever want anybody to go through,
Mm-mm.
but it's so critical to have the universality of your experience.
Mhm.
It just
Yep,
is.
it's huge.
What about your husband?
Yeah, I
What
was
kind of
gonna.
journey did he have, and did he find the support that he needed?
Not at all. No. And he's
Don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
no. And I said this when we first started, just personality wise, he's very reserved. He's not super social. And, his MO is just push it down, just, be the guy. So it's been a really different experience for him. And it's been way harder on him
Mhm.
on many occasions. Like, I am at such a different place than you in this grief because I've so leaned into it and talked about it and shared about it. And I will say, even if he did have the chance to join a group or like meet other dads or whatever, like he probably wouldn't do that because that's not who he is. I do think if you look at kind of the trajectory of it all, like I'm definitely at one with it. I'm at peace with it way more than he is, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's important to start leaning into it
Yeah. Leaning
and
in
and not avoiding it. Because if you start avoiding it, I think people end up avoiding it and never taking on dealing with it.
Yeah.
Because then they've taught themselves. You teach yourself to avoid those feelings because they're so hard.
Yeah.
Right.
Does
But then
you
it
don't
just
do it.
it never goes away.
No, so
Does
it
he
never
have a
get worse.
problem talking about him like you do and being open? Or
I
is
think
is
that's
it
really hard for him.
so does he talk about it with you?
Only with me. He would probably never just volunteer
Mm-hmm.
that information to anyone.
So
He's very private
that's
and I'm not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what we give a family scholarship every year to at the high school here, and the first year he came with me and he hasn't come since because he can't handle it. Yeah.
And
It's
are you
just
okay with that?
yeah.
Are
Yeah.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Because it's a different journey for both of us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, we lost our child together that we had together, but that experience I think is completely different, and just in terms of the emotions and how we've navigated it.
No, how
What
did you
about
navigate it as a couple in general? Were you kind of off on different pages all the
Absolutely.
time?
I think so.
And then would cross back
Yeah,
paths?
and
But
he and again, he would talk about it with me, and the coming into the holiday season is always the hardest time for Carl because Carl's my husband. Just and all of us know, like the kids know, like that, dads, this is really hard for dad. And it starts at Thanksgiving and cuz we only had this one holiday season
Oh,
with
yeah.
him. So, we had one Halloween, we had one Thanksgiving, and we had one Christmas, and then he passed away in January. So, this is a really hard time for him.
Yeah.
I do better with it than he does, but it's really hard.
what about Whitney? Like when she was 3 and dealing with this, how did you navigate being a mom to a 3-year-old and making and helping her get through that? How did she make sense of it? And like, how has it impacted her life so far?
I think she still has a really hard time talking about it. Like if I bring it up, she's just like, "No, mom, no." Because it just is so painful for her to know that he's, not here, that he didn't grow up with her. But I always think they're always going to be connected. The two of them are so deeply connected. And I always tell her in her bike races, he's right here. He's on your shoulder and he's going to carry you to your next podium. But I'm like, he's with you. He watches you. He's going to help you. So But yeah, it's really, really hard for her because she's a lot more like Carl. She's very, we call her AI. She's very
introverted.
She's very, very introverted. She's not open. Like she is my total opposite. But I think early on, like when he first passed away, she was the reason I kept going. And Carl too, And we do tell her that. We're like, if we, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So, but at the same time, that's an enormous thing for her to carry.
Yeah.
And we recognize that. But yeah, she was amazing. Even as a 3-year-old. I remember like she wanted to go get some stuff from Walmart and some art supplies, and I just did not want to go out with it anywhere, And I remember she took my hand and she took Carl's hand and she said, "We'll go as a team."
Oh.
And I will like never forget her saying that. And that's when I knew too that we were going to be okay because we could do it together.
Yep.
Wow, her acknowledgement of that.
Oh,
Wow.
these smart little girls.
Yeah. 3. She was very intuitive. And I don't know what you guys believe in this sort of thing, and this is like right after he passed away, she would tell me things that he would tell her.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to, I had a photo of him, and I always had a candle lit. And if we were home, it would be lit with his picture. And then when I would leave, I would blow it out. And we got home one day, and I went to light the candle, and it was like, "Mom, he doesn't want you to do that anymore." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "He doesn't want you to burn the candle anymore. You don't need to." And I was like, "Oh,
Wow.
okay."
I love that.
Yeah. And so I just didn't anymore. But that's also when I was like, yeah, he's going to stay in touch with her,
Yeah.
And I love that. So, and they always say like children are more open to sort like those sort of messages and whatnot. And I totally believe in that stuff.
I believe that too.
Oh,
Yeah. And, yeah. So that was like kind of like early on in the process with her is I felt like they were still very connected. And I feel like in a way it was almost better that he was so young and she was so young. Because I remember thinking, what if she was 12 and he was 9? They would have had a whole life together. But they only had that little period of time together. So I feel like it would have been harder if she had to lose him later.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of think of that like as a blessing in a way. If she had to lose him then.
Mm-hmm.
And as she got older, though, I knew that as her understanding grew, she would re-experience the grief. She's going to have a new experience with grief at every developmental milestone because she's going to have a greater awareness of.
Oh, that's true. I never thought of that.
Yeah. So
and more questions.
Yeah, and I would, I would talk to her about that. I'd say it's gonna. This is always gonna you're always gonna revisit this, the next level of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to revisit this if you ever have your own children. This is always gonna be, and again, as she gets older, it just her grief changes. So we've talked about that, she and I, but it's still very, very hard for her to talk about him and the loss.
So hard to think of a 3-year-old going through such big grief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
That's
they
just-
don't
yeah.
remember. They don't remember it.
I think I maybe they don't remember it,
No,
but I think it
cellularly they do.
Feel
But
it. Yeah.
yeah, it transforms them.
Yeah.
In a way,
Definitely.
like trauma.
yeah, there's no way that it didn't
Yeah.
impact her. She was there,
Right.
and then she had to watch
Mhm.
her parents
Yeah.
go
Do you
through
think
this.
she felt like a sense of responsibility for you guys, like to keep it
Probably.
together?
Probably. Yeah.
Being the
Little girls
oldest,
usually do.
well, being
Yeah.
the oldest too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ava's always been like
Mhm.
that. Grace is
Yeah.
like that. Like
Mhm.
when you guys can't keep it together, she keeps it together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think
Yeah.
that's the oldest
And
thing.
I think she still does that. We call her little mommy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because she, but at the same time, I think she also sees me being strong and mom being able to hold it together, mom still being able to have her job and
Mhm.
have a life and
Mhm.
Yeah.
function
And
And
be a
still
great
smile
mom.
and
and
be happy.
still,
And be a great mom because you are a
love.
great mom.
And I don't know about
You
that.
are a great mom. How
Uh,
did that impact her relationship with her future siblings?
That's a good one.
the
Do you think in a way like I mean it could go
I don't
one
know.
any way, right? Maybe
Yeah.
was she ever afraid to get close to them, or like was
No.
there fear at
No.
that 6-month mark? I mean,
there was fear for me.
yeah, I remember
Yeah.
talking to you.
Yeah, I didn't sleep for a
Yeah.
year. I mean, I
Wow.
slept with my hand on her
Mhm.
for a year because I was like, I cannot
too.
lose another baby.
Mm-mm.
Like I cannot.
No.
Um,
Was it
Yeah.
hard to make that decision to have
no,
your other
no,
kids?
I wanted to have another baby.
So tell us about your
I
other
wanted
two.
no, I immediately, or not immediately, but I knew I wanted to have another baby. Absolutely.
What about your husband? Was he on the same page with you with that at the same time?
Probably not. But I was like, we're having another baby. Like she has to have a sibling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She has to have a sibling. I have so much love to give.
Mhm.
And I want to have another baby. I wanted to hold a baby. And I wanted the baby to be mine.
Mhm.
I wanted it to be my baby. So Addison is she's 5 years younger than Whit. I lost another baby though in between Will and her. Well, just keep trying.
Okay. I think it's
Just
good that it
you
give like
just
what if
you manifest it if
Mhm.
you want it,
I think it's good to have that hope and that outlook.
Yeah.
And it must have been for your whole group your blog group, because everybody
Mhm.
everybody
Everybody
decided
wanted to have
to
another
pick it
baby.
up
And everybody
and keep
did.
going.
Everybody did. And we all had another girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Every
cool
single
for the
person.
boy.
Every single person except for one. We all had
Wow.
another daughter.
Oh, you guys were all meant to be
We all had
together
a
for this
daughter, an
time.
older daughter, around the same age, and then lost the son. But the majority, there were like 17 of us.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Was it
That's
around the
crazy.
same time then? So
Yeah,
that when you
all
had
of our
yours,
kids
you
are
guys
like
were-
the same age. Like the woman who like her blog is what I found and how I connected with all those people. Yeah, her daughter and my oldest daughter are the same age, and then our rainbows, our original rainbows, the rainbow babies, are the babies born after a loss. So our rainbows are this almost the same age. And then we both had another one after, and we both had a boy for the third.
Wow.
So
Is that what they call them? Rainbow babies? That's
Mhm.
like
yeah,
Or
rainbow.
is that what you call, or is that
No,
like a
it's the
universal
universal
term?
term.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
the rainbow
I've
babies.
never heard of that. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So we call it the Addison is the rainbow, and then Otto and her son's name is Liam. Otto and Liam were the pot of gold.
No.
At the end of the
Oh, that's
rainbow.
I remember
sweet.
when you were pregnant and you found out he was a boy.
I remember Carl being like, there's no way that one, we're gonna be able to have another one, and two, that it'll be a boy. And I was like, I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
I just had a feeling. I was like,
Wow.
I'm making this happen. Definitely my husband, like after we had her, he was like, I'm good. We're so
good.
lucky.
So that helped him.
We're
a
so
lot.
lucky that
Yep.
we got another baby
Mm.
at all.
Yep.
We have a beautiful baby, a healthy baby. We should be so grateful.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm not done. I'm
Yep.
still trying. Because like I said earlier, I have more to give.
Then you had Otto.
Otter Pop.
Otto. That's
You have
so
the.
cute.
I do want to mention this. She has the coolest names for her
Mhm.
Yeah,
kids. So, what's your
Mhm.
nicknames for your kids?
Well, Wit's nickname is Bear. She's definitely a bear.
Mhm.
And then Addison we call Biddy. Everybody knows her as Biddy because she's really tiny. And Audie we call we call him Bubba and we call him Otter Pop.
Hmm.
Yep.
I have a
Very
Peony
cute.
and a Lovey.
Yeah. 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 There's
Very Southern,
I don't
Jen.
like it.
Very
I don't
Southern.
like it at all.
yeah.
Philip
but-
answers to Lovey.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, I would have guessed opposite.
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
So how did you, I have a question about the kids,
Yeah.
your rainbow and your pot of gold.
Yep.
When did they learn about Wilhelm?
I just feel like there wasn't a moment in time where we were like, you have a brother and he died. It just like, it's kind of like woven into the fabric of the family. Its pictures are everywhere in our
That's
house.
great.
Who's that baby? Is that me? I'm like, nope, that's your brother.
So conversations never happen, like specifically.
I don't think there would ever be like an
sit-down
official
moment.
sit down, like we're gonna talk about,
Mhm.
your deceased brother or
Mhm.
anything.
And they
It's just
never-
it's
no.
just always like it comes up naturally.
That's great.
Usually around like a picture or something.
Mhm.
And and the little two are way more comfortable talking about him. Because they don't have the pain associated
Right.
with it.
Yeah.
He's
Wow.
just over here. Like for Wit,
Mhm.
it's a very deep, deep pain. They don't have the pain associated with it. So it's, and Otto still tells me, Mom, I wish my brother was here.
Oh,
And I'm like, I do too.
Mhm.
You guys would have so much fun together. That'd be so cute.
Mhm.
But yeah, and those two, I think personality wise, again, are just so open. And, they're just such lovers that they're okay with it. And Biddy would tell me things too when she was very young, toddler age, that she would talk to him, that he would come to her crib
Wow.
and tell her stuff.
well, that's
Yeah.
cute.
Does she remember that?
No, she doesn't. But I do remember she was about 2.5, and we were just sitting on the couch or something, and she said, Mom, she said, brother wants me to tell you that that you don't need to worry about him. He's okay, and he is safe, and he is warm. And I was
Wow.
like, oh my God. Yeah. She was 2.5 when she said that.
Oh my God.
She was like,
kids.
she said, he is in a good place, Mom.
Wow.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love
So she
that.
was like very, very young when she said that.
I believe that with
I do
my
too.
whole heart.
Yeah, me too.
She's like, he wants you to know that. And it was out of nowhere. Like we weren't talking about him or anything. And she just like grabbed my arm and she said, Mom, he wants you to know this.
Oh my
Oh.
God.
And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Safe and he's warm.
He's
I
safe and he's
love
warm.
that.
Because I remember, not wanting to let him go at the hospital. They let me hold him for a long time. And I just didn't want him to not be warm. I didn't want someone to not be holding him.
Mhm.
That was so hard. So it was odd that she specifically said that
Mhm.
he's warm, because
Yeah.
I was so
Mhm.
worried about that.
Oh,
That's
Because
how
I just wanted him to be
That's how he was
warm.
letting you
Mhm.
know it was
Yeah, that
him.
he's okay. He's warm and he's safe and he's in a good place. And I was like, okay, got it. Thank you. And then she just went on playing with like My Little Ponies or whatever, cutting their tails off and stuff. And that was that. But that's
Wow.
like, but those are like those little like happenings or like those moments when you kind of,
Yeah.
you begin to believe. And I believe it so much. And I believed in this before I lost my son, but I believe in it even more deeply now, that like I will see him again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will get to be with him again. We will all be a family again.
Yeah. That's the hope.
And that's exactly, and that's a driving force.
I believe that too.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. I really still believe that, that will be with him again. I did get that makes me think I went through this period of time where like I just wanted to talk to psychics.
Did you ever talk to one that got like close?
Oh,
to-
yes.
Oh, you did?
Very much so.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. I talked to one who had told me that, and I kind of mentioned this earlier in terms of like the age thing. I talked to one who told me that he had 2 different windows where he was going to leave this plane. One was as an infant, and the other one was when he was like 10 or 11. And he chose this time because of the sister. He chose
Wow.
the earlier
Wow.
one because he knew it would impact her less. And I was like, that's crazy. But yeah,
Wow.
she was like, he was going to die young.
Wow.
But he made a
Wow.
decision
Wow.
to go that this time.
Did
that
you
was-
leave those feeling like comforted?
Yes, very much so. I was glad because, it would have been, it's so hard to lose a sibling when you're older and you've, like Liana's sister, like you've grown up together.
A whole lifetime
You
together.
have a life together.
Mhm.
I think that's a big, big difference in terms of like the age. Because for me, the grief is what could have been, what would have been.
Mhm.
For Liana,
Mhm.
and others, it's looking back, like
You're
what
so
we
right.
had. So that
Mhm.
is a very different experience.
Mhm.
And I have told my kids that, I'm like, you didn't get to have a life with him, but you don't miss that life with him.
Yeah, because when you grow up with them, they're part of your identity, and
Yeah.
when you lose them
Well, and
later, then
you
your
share the same
identity's totally
experiences.
off.
You share the same
Family
many of the
unit,
memories and
everything.
everything. It's what you had versus what would he have been. That, and I always think about that. I'm like, what would he have been for Halloween this year? What would he have wanted for Christmas this year? Who would his friends have been? Because all those kids are in my class
Mhm.
now.
Right.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah.
gotta be hard.
Yeah, I look around and I'm like, he would have been
What
in this.
sports would he
Yeah,
play?
he would have been in
Personality.
this crew. Like this would have been his age group.
Mhm.
For a while that was hard for me when I would see another little boy hit like that was the age that he would have been at that time.
Mhm.
That was really hard. But I don't know. I just somehow got through that. No,
Yeah.
you just keep, working, like moving forward.
So
But I
you
also have Joe Biden, politics aside, whatever. He's had a lot of loss and tragic loss in his life. And I remember listening to him and he had said one of the biggest paths to healing for him was to have a sense of purpose.
Mhm.
And I was like, I have a purpose. And one, I have my daughter, and two, I have my job. And I started looking at the teaching piece as being an incredible blessing because I get to love so many kids. I have so many kids in my life that I love and I care about. And so I did end up going back to school, not too long after Will died because I needed to be with the kids again.
Mhm.
And that was so healing for me to
you had a
to
lot
go
of
back to
support, a
school.
lot of love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, it was weird for sure, but the kids were awesome. They were just so happy that I was back. They were just happy that I was there. And I told them I wasn't at all like hiding what had happened.
And most of them knew, though,
a lot of
right?
them knew
Yeah.
that. I think the counselors had kind of gone in and just
Yeah.
said like, Mrs. Warnke's going to be back and she's been through a lot.
That
And
was soon after.
I think I went back maybe 6 weeks later.
Oof.
Wow. That's
Yeah, I
hard.
mean they had a sub for me and they were like expecting that.
For the rest.
Yeah. And I was like, I want to come back now. I need to come back
Yeah.
now. But I needed to fill my time.
Yeah. You could
I can't just sit home and
Yeah,
cry.
you
so
can't.
long.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, Whit was going to Holy Name and I was like, I got to do something.
Yeah.
But I was glad that I had a job that I got to go back to where it was like I was doing something meaningful.
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember the kids from that class on it because I didn't have them for that long. But we had like maybe 3 or 4 months together.
Oh, that's right.
They were wonderful, and I still see them around town. And
Yeah.
I mean, kids, oh my God, the notes that the kids wrote me, the pictures, the poems.
No.
And again, it was like kids that I didn't even know, were like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about your baby. And 13-year-old boys,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
That's a big deal.
That is a
that's
big
a
deal.
lot for
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
you know, them to acknowledge that I
Yeah.
had been through something, you know, really, really hard.
But they can be sweet, don't you think?
Yeah,
It sounds like they treated you better than the people who saw you at Walmart.
sometimes.
And it went the other
Yeah,
way.
but
Because they're just resilient.
kids are different
They
though.
acknowledge it, they let it go.
And they also don't have all the baggage that adults
Yes.
do. So they're like, "I'm so sorry."
Mhm.
You know, there were so many sweet, sweet kids that were just, like, lovely. And I don't wanna paint this picture of, you know, being a middle school teacher is like, because it's really hard. It's
Yes.
really, really hard.
I don't
But
think anyone
I
thinks
will
that.
No.
say, you know, in one of my times of greatest need, they came through, and my colleagues and the community, and so
I also think
feel
that
really
says a lot about
blessed.
what kind of person you are and how loved you
Mm.
are in the community. So that says
Yeah.
a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
the more love you give, you know,
Mhm.
you get back what
You put out.
you receive what you put out there. So,
Like you
yeah.
keep saying, you have a whole lot of love.
I do. I have so much love to give. I
Mhm.
really do.
I have a quick question that you don't have to answer if you don't want, but you are a faithful person. Was there any time that you were angry with God or
Very,
had to reconcile
for
anything?
sure.
Okay.
I was very angry with God.
Mm.
Very. Again, I think that's something that you know, you need to wrestle a bit, you know, you
Mhm.
need to question and wonder and ask why. It took me a little while, but I got over the anger, I think, at God and I think in general. I almost feel like it was just like submitting to the fact that like it as much as this sucks, it's unfolding as it should in a way, and just like believing that like truly and deeply was kind of where I landed with it. But it took a while. I mean, I was pissed.
Mhm.
I was like, "Why? Why did this happen to me? My
Mhm.
family, my daughter, my husband." Yeah, you do feel just shafted,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
when you endure an inexplicable loss. I think it'd be weird to not be pissed,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like if I was just
Yeah.
okay with that, that would have been really weird,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know.
Agree.
But I was like, "No, this is horrible. This is not okay, and I'm upset."
Mhm.
And there's a lot of the Buddhist teachings are to lean into the you know the painful pieces, and that is what I did. And when people experience loss, and I do talk to a lot of people that go through losses, specifically with like a child, but I do realize that like it's been a while for me. It's been 13 years. I've had a lot of time to, I think, work through things and integrate it and really, really be at peace with the joy and the sadness of it all. For me, I feel like that's where God comes into. Still having the belief and still having hope.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, that's what being a human is.
Yeah.
You cannot be human if you don't have hope. You know, hope is what keeps us alive.
Yeah.
So
As we wrap up today, is there anything that you would have done differently during that process?
knowing where I am now, I would say no, because I think even with potentially making some people uncomfortable with my honesty and my writings about my loss, and you know, people maybe being like, "Is she like going crazy or something?" You know, um, yeah, that's a hard question. I have to think about that a little. Is there something that
Good
I would
job, Jen.
change? Yeah,
Stumper. Well, you've done the
I mean, I
work,
wouldn't. Yeah,
which
yeah,
is beautiful. And
and
there's a process.
and that work is not that work is not enjoyable.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
Um, it's very painful. Um,
But it's necessary.
it's so necessary. Yeah.
Mhm.
And in fact, I've like had my oldest daughter, I like kind of made her go to therapy because I was like, you need to deal with this stuff. Like you can't just push this down. And she was somewhat resistant, and there are times where she's like, "I don't wanna go," and I'm like, "That means it's working." Because
Oh,
it's
that's so
and I'm like
good.
"It's
hard.
not supposed to be enjoyable
Yeah.
to go to
Right.
therapy."
Right.
It's hard. It's hard work, and it doesn't feel good a lot of the time. But that's when you know that you're doing the work, and that's when you know you have to keep going, you know?
So
I always tell her, I'm like, "I kept you alive that year, and then you paid me back
oh,
when your brother died. You're the reason that I survived." So I'm like, "We're good." I'm like, "Only a mother could have loved you as an infant." But again, you also, you know, you you saved my life
Hmm.
too.
That is something that you want people to take away from today.
I think having the knowledge that you can, um, that you can get through, um, as long as you lean in and do the work, and there's still so much joy to be had and so much love to be given and received and so many experiences. I have such a deep appreciation for anything. I'm just so filled with gratitude for every day, for, a nice cup of coffee. I'm so filled with gratitude for that. And but you cannot get to a place of being at peace with, your trauma, your loss, whatever, unless you lean in and you do the work to get to that place. But getting to that place is so worth it because I've been through so much, but I'm so I feel so incredibly blessed at the same time. So that's what I would say is just um to not give up.
Do the work.
Never give up.
Never
Yep.
give up.
It's powerful to let people know that there is real grief, there is real hope still,
Yeah.
and that life can go on. And with it being the holiday season and everything, it's going to be really hard for a lot of people.
It is.
But these are important conversations to have, and I don't think a lot of us take the time to have them. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you guys for
All right.
having me and
Yeah.
doing this awesome podcast.
Just a reminder of our key points today is to reach out to people if you need someone, make plans for the holidays, make specific plans, have people over. You have to make a choice to keep getting out there, even if it's hard. And if it's someone you know who's lost someone, please, please be gentle and kind with them and love them and hug them and
Yes.
acknowledge their pain.
Yep.
Thank you,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone.